So, hello everyone. I am so excited to talk about GYPSY, and I really appreciate everyone who told me to watch this show because I loved it so much. I watched it as quick as I could. It's only 10 episodes, so it was pretty easy to binge it. But let me know if you are in the room. If you're here, let me know who you are. Say hey. And just a heads up, I will be talking about every episode of season one, or hopefully it's not the only season. So if you have not seen all of the episodes, there will be spoilers. So I don't want to spoil anyone. Just a heads up before we start talking because I would hate to be spoiled and I don't want you to get spoiled. So come back later if you haven't seen all of the episodes, but I thought it was absolutely incredible. What makes me really sad, hi Firkin, thank you for being here. What makes me sad is that apparently the ratings were not good for this show and a lot of people didn't like it, which just blows my mind because I thought it was really good. And I actually had people tell me that it was slow, and I never thought it was slow. And I actually think a lot of shows are slow. If you guys watch me a lot, you know that. So I was expecting it to be slow because people said it was slow, and I did not find it slow. I thought Naomi Watts did an amazing job. Just incredible. And I loved all of the characters. And there was some very massive cliffhangers at the end that we need to talk about. And also, I finally Googled like the cast and everything last night after I finished the series, and apparently the person who does this show wants to do a second season. Now, that's kind of in jeopardy because of the ratings, but she said if a second season happens, it will be more thriller instead of like Naomi views season one as like a character piece, but they're going to make it way more thriller-like for season two, which sounds very exciting. So Firkin is asking me if I ship Jean and Sydney, which would be actually like Diane and Sydney, right? Personally, I have a lot of issues with Diane/Jean because she makes me mad. There were times through this series that I was very mad at her because she is a pathological liar. She's obviously living two different lives, and I don't like the way that she deals with some of her patients. I mean, I feel like she is pushing them to do things they wouldn't do on their own, and it's in a negative way. Like, her involvement is way too much. The stuff that she did with Allison is just way overboard. Of course, Allison's a very shady character and a liar herself, but that's a big mess. I felt really bad for Rebecca's mother. She should not intervene in the way she does and like going out and pretending to be someone else and meeting up with these people that the patients talk about in their private sessions. So I'm with Firkin here. I need a second season. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for being here. Vanessa was one of the people, I think Firkin and Vanessa both told me to watch this, and a few other people on Twitter. So I'm glad you guys are here so we can talk about it. But I don't know if you guys ever got mad at Jean, Diane, but she made me mad, right? Like, I don't know. I can't stand her lies. And like, personally, I think she was very involved with this Melissa woman burning down her parents' house, and I don't know what was going on there. I was trying to figure out if they had like some sort of sexual relationship or no, it was just like her obsessive way that she gets with her patients. Firkin says sometimes she was weird and she was cheating on her husband, but you still ship them. So definitely they had some crazy chemistry, but I personally feel bad for Sydney because I think she really cares about Diane, and I think that she's just going to screw her over because near the end you could tell that she was trying to push Sam to get back together with Sydney, which that's probably not a good relationship either because she wanted to like get rid of Sydney, I think, because she was just overwhelmed and didn't know what to do with her, and Sydney was like in love with her and she couldn't get rid of her, so she's like, let's get them back together. I just think Jean Diane, what should we call her? I'm just going to call her Diane because she's Diane through a lot of this. Diane is just, I think she's toxic. Vanessa says the relationship between Diane and Sydney is toxic. I think Diane is just the most toxic person. Now, I love Naomi and I love her portrayal of this character, but I'm just going to be honest here that I think this woman is a virus and is toxic and is wrong. Hi, Amber. Hopefully you've watched this show. I really hope you have because it's so good. And if you haven't, please watch it. I just want to encourage everyone to watch it. And even if you read the description or whatever, you've heard what it's about and it doesn't sound that great. I kind of went into it with no expectations. And I actually did not read anything about it because I like to be surprised. So I was excited to just kind of find out what it was about, and I went into it with an open mind, and I really liked it, and it's very different from a lot of the stuff that I watch. Vanessa's asking if I think Michael will leave Jean, because it's Jean to him. He should. I feel bad for him. Obviously, she has done this crap before. She just lies all the time. I mean, the lies, especially near the end, were just making me sick. Why? When she plagiarized Alexis's article, that made me mad. I'm like, I know Alexis is shady, but woman, please stop. Stop with your lies and deceit. I can't take it. Fergan says her husband was not that good either. He was kind of weird to her and tried to control her, and you think that's one of the reasons she likes to escape her real life and be Diane. Well, personally, I think Diane is the worst character on this show. Now, as far as her drama with her husband, I think they were like on a break or something when he got involved with this Catherine woman, which he called her like in the end. So I'm looking for her to be in season 2, like, right? I feel like bad things are going to happen to Diane, and she has them coming. That's what I feel. I mean, you can't live your life like that, lying to everyone. Whatever your issue is, whatever your reasoning is for needing an escape or having a second life, that's not the way to handle it. Yeah, Amber, this is a 10-episode season on Netflix, so you can watch it pretty quickly. But yeah, she loves the power of playing with people. I absolutely agree with you, Firkin. But what I'm saying here is you just can't get away with that stuff in the real life, in the real world forever. So here's my thing. If she is not happy with her husband or her life, she should get a divorce and be done with it, but she can't decide. Like, she kind of wants that life, but she wants both. Like, she wants the best of both worlds. But her other world and her life as Diane is getting her into a lot of trouble. First of all, this Tom guy is scary. I could see him doing something crazy, okay? I knew what was going on with the yogurt scene. I knew he was going to drug her yogurt because she left that container open, which is kind of unsanitary anyway. So that went down. But he to me is a threat, a huge threat. But we also saw so much symbolism with Sydney and Sam relating to guns. I mean, we saw Sam's gun. We saw bullets in Sydney's drawer. So I feel like there's something they're wanting to do with that. And if they put all the pieces together, I feel like someone will shoot and kill Diane. Like, if this show ever gets to the point where it ends, someone's killing her. That's what I think. Firkin says you love how Michael treats his daughter, though. Yes. And, for the most part, they both really love Dolly. And even though Jean is absent a lot, she cares about Dolly. You can tell, like, she tried to really save the day with the Peter Pan play. And they both love her. And I do feel bad for her because she doesn't know what's going on and she's super young. But I think eventually she's going to start catching on. Like, what's going on? This is not right. There's something not right with my, the dynamic of my parents and my mom and everything else. I haven't heard about the show Salvation, Amber. I can look it up. But sure, I'm always up for suggestions. I'm trying to start some new shows, possibly, well, not possibly, but I'm going to start The Mist here pretty soon. Kelly, thank you so much for being here. Love this show. Agreed. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm worried. This happens to me a lot. A lot of the shows that I get, like these new shows that I'm like obsessed with, like this one, I love it. Love it. And they freaking get canceled. I've had this happen several times. And when I read about the ratings and everything, I'm concerned, seriously concerned we're not going to have a second season. I'm very upset about that. And I don't want that to happen. Like, if you guys ever watched The Family, I know some of you did, it needed a second season so bad and it got canceled, and it's just not going to happen. So I need a second season. Don't do this to me again. Bergen says you think we'll find out more why Jean is how she is, why she loves to lie to people. There's more to it. Right. So there was some mention from her mom near the end that something about her dad being a very secretive person or wrapping her in a world of secrets. So not really sure what happened with that, but there's something to that as well. Amber says you think only one episode of the show has started. You're not sure how to feel about it. Well, I will definitely look into it when we're done here, or, Google it or whatever and see kind of what it's about. But, if anybody else watches it, let me know. Firkin says you love the representation in the show. Yeah, love. I mean, I think it's great. I really, you guys know I'm pretty honest about what I think about about every show. And I really don't have any negative things to say about it. Like, there's nothing I would have done differently. There's nothing I had an issue with. There wasn't an episode. And sometimes I feel like when I do binge a show, I don't get bored usually. Like, I really like all the episodes. But there wasn't like an episode that I was like struggling through, or that I felt like I wanted to do something else, or I was distracted. Vanessa says you think the timing for The Family wasn't the right move. It should have been a fall show instead of a summer show. Yeah, but I don't really know what happened with that. I felt like it was so good. And I know a lot of people liked it. And it sucks because it's a lot like this show. It's not like this show, but it is like this show in a way that the fact is, we had this crazy ending where everything was left, not answered, and we need the answers. I need to know. There are so many loose ends in this finale for GYPSY. Need to figure this out. Need to know what happens. Firkin says you've never seen a child having problems with their gender. I don't know if that's been addressed in a show or movie. I feel like probably it has, but of course that is a very real topic in society, and it was, I thought that it was addressed beautifully and perfect. I thought that was great. So I don't know if it's been done before, but I don't think it's been done in a show that I have watched. Vanessa says if GYPSY does get canceled, it should at least get a 2-hour finale. Well, I read this article from, and I can't remember her name, the person who's behind the show, and she kind of felt like, I think from what she was saying, she was just going to end it with the way it ended because she said some people really liked how it was so open-ended and we didn't know what's going to happen with any of these people. Amber says there's so many great shows that are gone too quickly. Like what happened to the baseball show with the female player on Fox? I don't know. I didn't watch that one, but a lot of the shows I've covered on here, like Dead of Summer. I'm trying to think what else. Even shows that have multiple seasons, like Scream Queens, which went downhill, and then Scream on MTV, which I really liked. I don't know what's going on with that. But a lot of shows that I love, especially the ones I tend to really, really love, only get like one season. So, but I don't regret it. Like, I don't regret watching. If it never comes back, life will have to go on because I'm used to this at this point. But Pitch, that sounds familiar. Firkin didn't like Alexis. So, Alexis definitely has an agenda. I don't trust her at all. And I really don't want Michael to be with her because I don't personally have a problem with Michael. I kind of like him, actually. What he did with her was wrong. We can't condone that. What his wife is off doing is probably worse. I mean, she was having legit affair. He very much almost had one. And then he told her he cared about her and everything. I mean, I don't think two wrongs make a right, so I don't think I can say, like, well, we know his wife is off sleeping with someone else, so, he's justified. He kind of knows something's going down, so he can do whatever. I don't feel that. I mean, I feel like they should get a divorce if this is not working out, which it's not. But Alexis, like, it really showed her character when she was trying to hook up with Michael and he turned her down. And she goes and hooks up with the only other dude on the trip. It's like, this woman, she's got some bad intentions. I don't know what her deal is. I don't even know if I believe she's dating someone. It's like as soon as she found out Michael wanted to be with her, she was like, oh, yeah, well, I'm seeing someone. She's trouble, absolutely. I'm not on her team at all. Jay is here. Thank you so much for being here. Jay Ivy was one of the people who really wanted me to watch this show, so thank you. You're saying at the end of the episode 6 with Jean Diane, didn't you guys feel like there was a deleted scene? She had her head in Sydney's lap and the next... Yes, okay, right. I was so confused. In fact, I thought... Did I miss part of the episode? Am I on the wrong episode now? She had her head in Sydney's lap and then she's on the train. I don't know. What was up with that? Like... I wanted to know, that was the time when she was like drugged, right? And from the yogurt. And then the next thing she's like on the train and she's thanking her for taking care of her. I don't know. That was so weird. It definitely jumped. Vanessa says I might like Broadchurch, which is a mystery crime show. And I've heard of it. Let me check it out. I've never checked it out. Fergan says she knows that Michael is married. We're talking about Alexis here, but she's still flirting with him. Alexis is somebody who... She just doesn't give a crap. She's out for herself. She will be out for any man, and she doesn't care if they're married. I mean, come on. The thing that really bothered me about her is that she went back to the office and she told everyone that stuff went down. Like, she started the rumor about herself, which was just freaking weird. I don't know if she wanted him to get fired because he turned her down. I was really happy he turned her down. Like, I always thought throughout watching the show that they probably were already having an affair and we just didn't know it. And then when they had the opportunity to hook up, I'm sorry, my face keeps itching, driving me crazy. When they had the opportunity to hook up, I felt like for sure he was going to go through with it. I mean, he jumped in the pool with her. She was in his bed or in their bed. And, it didn't happen. So I was, yes, that's good on him for not doing it. I think he really loves Jean. But at this point, like now all the stuff he knows, and especially when Sydney showed up acting psycho at the office, and he's figuring stuff out with that, like when he went to the coffee shop and all that. Like, I think at this point, it's like, he knows that stuff is going down and he just doesn't care anymore. Okay, Amber says The Lying Game. I did watch that, I believe. Twisted, Chloe of Nine Lives, Secret Circle. The one about the girl who had cancer and was dying, I watched that too, and that got canceled. Your ex who was on most of them? What now? Did you have an ex-boyfriend who was on these shows? Do tell us. Vanessa says you love that scene with Michael and Diane, like a mirror scene. Firkin says Sydney doesn't know anything. That is why we can't judge her. I don't have a problem with Sydney. I like Sydney. I feel bad for her. But, you know, I think there's maybe more. I can't figure out who's telling the truth between Sam and Sydney. Like, he made a lot of accusations against her, and then she's made a lot of accusations that he's crazy. So I'm kind of confused. Like, is one of them really psychotic or what? Or no? I don't know. Broadchurch is British, okay. What did I think of the ending? I thought it was a perfect finale for a show that would have a second season. Of course, they want to have a second season. So I thought it was great. Oh my God, but right, like, so when Sydney showed up to her speaking thing at the school, like, the expression on Diane, or whatever you want to call her's face, was weird. Like, she almost smiled. I would think she'd be panicking, right? Because it's like her world was collapsing. Riverdale's great, Hannah. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I've covered the whole first season on my channel. You can go back and look at those videos, or maybe you have watched them. And the second season is coming out this fall, and I'll be covering that. But I'm not sure if you're asking me if you should watch it, but I definitely think you should, and I'll still be covering that in the fall. Firkin says, you still don't know what to think about Jean. You like her because you like psycho characters, but you want to know if she likes Michael or she's just playing him. I think she does like him. I think she does. I think she wants a solid, stable life as a wife with a child and a good, happy, like, middle-class life, or whatever they are, maybe more than middle class. But I also think she wants that adventure. She likes him because he's stable and she can come home and return to that, and she knows she has her happy little life there in some ways. But she wants the crazy life too, and she wants both. And that's what I think about that. I don't think she has any reason to play him. I think she just wants the security from him and everything. Yes, Allie, I am excited for season 2 of Riverdale, and I'm covering that on my channel. So hopefully maybe you were here for the first season when I did that. If not, you can go watch those videos. But yes, I will be covering it season 2 this fall. I'm very excited for that. Like Firkin saying, you think she likes the danger. And you think Diane wanted Sydney to show up. Yes, but how did she figure out that she was speaking there? We don't really know that. Vanessa says, Laren, one of the other therapists. Oh, okay. So I watched The Night Of, which was just like a mini-series. It was just supposed to be one season. It was a little bit boring. It was okay. I like this much better. It was on HBO, but I thought she looked familiar. She's very suspicious of Jean, which she should be. Jay says, in the last scene, Diane acted like she loved that Sydney finally came and saw her. It reminded you of Jean going off on the mom at the birthday party and giving her that same smile. But where do we go from here? Because Sydney cannot be cool with this. I mean, or maybe she will be. I don't know. Maybe she'll tell her, I'm married, I have a daughter, I've lied to you. Personally, I wouldn't be cool. I would be like, we're done. Sorry. But don't you think that Sam, like, if Sam finds out about all of this, don't you think he's going to, go hostile, go crazy? I would go crazy. And I feel so bad for that girl, Emily, he's with, who, I'm kind of feeling like he doesn't really want to be with her, but Jean pretty much pushed him into being with her, and now he's engaged because he feels like that's the right thing to do. What do I think happened between Jean and Melissa? I don't know, but I feel bad for that woman too. I think she pushes people into doing things that they don't want to do, and it doesn't even help them. She had an inappropriate relation. I think she had some kind of, they had a bracelet, right? I think they might have had a sexual relationship personally. Now, I think she told Sydney she never been with a woman before, but come on, we can't believe a word this woman says. So, Fergus says we all know that Melissa is considered psycho because of Jean's lies, but what happened? I think she probably somehow convinced her to burn down the parents' house, but we just don't know what was even her situation. I don't know what the deal was between Melissa and her parents and what's up with that, but I think it's very cool that they brought her into the show and actually showed her us. And she planned all this. She had to go to her mom's house and dig up that friendship bracelet thing. What's up with that? That is not something you just give a patient, or a patient would get. I feel like they hooked up. They had something. That's what I think. She gets obsessed with people. And it's not just a sexual thing. She's obsessed with Allison. She's obsessed with I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, is she going to hook up with Sam? I could see that going down, honestly. Jay could definitely see Sam and or his girlfriend shooting Jean Diane. And I think that Sydney is someone who could be very violent if you push the wrong buttons. And I don't think, I'm not saying, I mean, I think it's warranted because Diane is crazy, but somebody's going to go out. Someone's going to do it, or Tom's going to do it. The other question I have for you, we see Allison in the back of Tom's car. Do you guys think she's alive? I mean, I wasn't sure if she was dead. Is she really in with him? Are they just playing Diane, Jean, or what? Because sometimes I think they're just both playing her, because we learned that Allison is a crazy liar. Like, her mom doesn't have cancer. It sounds like she's from actually a family with money. She's been living with her mom. She's lied about everything. Why was Allison searching through Jean's stuff, like her tapes and all of that? Why would she care about that? Vanessa says, do you think Jean's mom knows about this? You think her mom had a feeling? Another good question. Maybe, I think that Jean is someone who's been troubled since childhood, and her mom seems to really support her. Like, she was paying for that other apartment, and they fight a lot, but at the same time, I feel like she kind of has her back. Maybe her mom is kind of shady like that. I don't know. Team Chaotix, thank you for being here. Oh, hi, Marissa. I'm so sorry I didn't show up. If you're on Twitter, I've been talking about doing this on Twitter, but I don't know why it's not showing up, because with the new way I'm doing the chats so that they don't crash, I can't pre-schedule it on here to like have a chat room scheduled or whatever. If there's a way, I haven't figured it out, but that's why I just try to say, like, on Twitter, like, hey, but it should have notified you. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Ferkin says you don't think they had hooked up, but maybe Jean used her. I think something went down, and I think that, honestly think that it was Jean. I blame Jean for everything. She's so toxic, and it's not like, I mean, the only person who I feel like is also super toxic, who's her patient, is Allison. And I think Allison is trouble for her, because that guy, Tom, told you, he's crazy. And I think Allison could cause her some real issues, okay? Because Allison is kind of like her in the way that nothing she says is true. She plays on people's sympathy, you know, and she's been playing Jean the entire time, you know? Vanessa says you don't think Jean is that obsessed with Allison. Jean just doesn't want the truth to get out, but that's maybe why she wanted to talk to Allison about it. Well, she's gone way too far with her. She's lied about her. She made up fake notes about her. She invited her to her apartment. You don't do that. You know, she's just not doing things professionally, and now the police are involved because she's missing, and that's going to catch up with her too, right? Jay thinks that you read an article, if there was a second season, there would be way more suspense. Yes, and it would focus more on Allison, and her boyfriend read the same thing. And they said, the woman who does this show says that Allison and her boyfriend are going to cause Jean a lot of problems. And, you know, he keeps saying to her, I hope you get what's coming to you, you know. Ferkin says you hope Sam is the one lying and everything Sid has told us is the truth. That's kind of what I feel like, but I don't know. Amber says all Allisons in every series are terrible, right? Yeah, this girl is, you should definitely watch the show, Amber, because this girl is interesting. She's like she's just, you feel so bad for her, and then you're like, okay, you've been lying, you know. Yeah, so click on the bell button. I mean, I know there's people who clicked on the bell to get notifications, and they still aren't getting them. Marissa says you were confused and will have to rewatch. No, he did not cheat with Alexis. They were almost to that point, and he told her no, and she went and hooked up with the other dude that they work with who was on the trip, who is married as well. Jay says you think Jean felt very maternal to Allison and wanted to help her, but it went too far. I agree, but in my mind, that's obsession, not in like, she doesn't want to have sex with her, but she's obsessed, overly obsessed with her, probably like she was with Melissa. Like, she's too involved in her patients. And when I say obsessed, I don't mean she wants to hook up with every single person. But I think, yeah, she felt like she was her mom, and she believed Allison's story. She felt bad for her. That was all a lie, which is kind of funny because that's kind of what she gets. Yeah, the notifications, you're right. I have, like, Julie and other people on here set for notifications. I swear I never hardly ever get them. Or I have a lot of people that I'm subscribed to, and I don't really watch their videos, and like I forgot that I turn on notifications, and I usually get those notifications, and I'm like, I don't even want to watch their video, but whatever. It's like I don't get the important ones. Marissa says Okay, yeah, right. I completely believe you. I mean, a lot of people click the bell and it doesn't work. There was a guy who, like, every video of mine, he said he never got a notification. Then it finally started working, and it's just like a YouTube glitch or something. Vanessa says maybe Allison wants to expose Jean. That's why she's pretending to be a patient. You never know. I mean, because, like, she comes from a family with money. Like, she's not like this, she kind of dresses like all, like, in her pajamas and stuff. We don't even know. Who knows? She might not even really be on drugs. She's an interesting character. Jay says, you really think if Jean Diane told Sydney the truth that Sydney would have been fine? I think she can handle it. I don't think Sam can handle it. I think Sam will lose it. I think he's going to go crazy. I mean, really. Firkin says the question is, why does she get obsessed with her patients? You think something happened in her childhood. And I agree with you. And I think that hopefully a second season will explore that. And whatever that line is about her dad, I mean, I don't know if he did something to her. Was he abusive? Something like that. I don't know. Or maybe she was just a person who was bullied or felt, she's giving a speech about bullies. Was she bullied? Did she always feel like she was on the outside? Maybe didn't have any friends, didn't have any boyfriends. And now she wants to, like, have the best of all these worlds, like have a loving husband and a daughter, but to go out and be wild and hook up with people and have boyfriends and girlfriends and everything. Marissa says Jean should have been honest with Sydney, especially since she has taken this to a relationship. I feel really, honestly, terrible for Sydney. I think Sydney loves her, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever have dated anyone who, I've dated people who didn't tell me the truth, and, like, not to that extent. Nobody was married or anything like that, but it's like when you find out that someone has deceived you and you really care about them, that's like the worst betrayal. It's just terrible. And so I felt really bad for Sydney, no matter what her issues are or what she's done in the past. I don't really do anything with Sonic the Hedgehog. Sorry, I'm not really. No, but no, I don't. I just don't. Firkin says, you think Jean will die in the end? Either Sid or Michael will kill her. Ooh, that's a good thought, that her husband will kill her. Oh, she dies for sure. If we get there. We hope we get there. Jay says, you think the actress who portrayed Dolly stole the series? She has a bright future. And I agree with you. And I Googled her. I looked her up on IMDb. And I think she's been in, like, one other thing. Of course, she's really young. So she was such a star in this show. And I can see her doing more stuff. I completely agree with you. That's a good point. Yeah, it was weird for me to be looking up a child to find out more about them. But that's how much I think she stood out in this series. And I definitely think we'll see her again. But I'm just, like, crossing my fingers that we get a second season because it's very up in the air. And I don't know. There's probably nothing we can do about it. I went crazy, like, when The Family was on and got canceled. And I was, like, doing petitions and I don't even know, tweeting the world. And I was talking to some people with the show because I kept tweeting about it. And it didn't work. And it's just, like, sometimes I know it works for some shows, but sometimes when it's like a new show, it usually works for shows that have been on for years and gets canceled and they have, like, such a following that the fans can bring it back. But this is like a brand new show. What I will say about it is that it has Naomi and it has, the guy who played her husband, Billy, I don't know how you say his last name, he's famous. And then Blythe Danner is a huge star, so it has big people on it, so that should help. Marissa thinks that Jean is really confused about who she is, especially her sexual identity. You feel like she has tried to do what was expected, not what she wanted, and has snapped. I completely agree with you. Maybe she'd always been interested in women, or she knew she was bisexual, if that's what's going on. I'm not really sure what her sexual identity is, but she was afraid to go there, wanted to please people. I don't know. But at the same time, I'm not really sure if I believe this is the first woman she's been with. She lies so much, so maybe she's not willing to be with a woman in public. I don't know. She seemed very weird about that. I don't know if it was because she was married or because doesn't want people to think, she's with a woman. But I thought it was pretty clever how she took her phone and deleted that Instagram picture. Firkin says, you think Jean believes her lies so much that her lies aren't lies to her anymore? Yes, but at the same time, I think she's also we've seen her so overwhelmed. She's taking, like, anxiety meds because she's creating a lot. She would have a normal life. She's responsible for creating all the drama. Vanessa says maybe her husband will admit her to a mental hospital to get help. And as sad as it is, I think she needs that. I don't know what to do for her, but I do think it's kind of a mental illness. No matter what happened to her in her previous, as a child or whatever, I think I was saying this earlier, but didn't finish my thought. Like, you can't just keep screwing people over and messing with people's lives because you had a bad childhood or because someone did that to you or whatever. Like, we can't excuse that forever. She's causing crazy stuff to happen. She may have caused someone to burn down a house. Is she going to cause someone to kill someone? I mean, this is too much. Firkin says she's created a new person with a background. Well, I mean, it's weird. She has, like, the Diane name on the mailbox for the apartment. I guess it's in that name. It's some crazy stuff. Jay said Naomi said she wanted to try TV but could never find a role where she would not get bored. So this is a role that she enjoyed, which she was perfect and wonderful at. I loved it. Firkin says you love the scene when Jean was defending her daughter. Now, she's such a good mom. Like, in a way, she's such a great mom, and she's great with Dolly. But then in another way, she's doing so many destructive things that she's jeopardizing her daughter because, I mean, she's jeopardizing her own life, which jeopardizes her daughter's life. So I want to call her a good mom. But on the other hand, I'm afraid to say that because she's really not a good mom because she's off doing very crazy, reckless stuff, which is so, if she dies, that's going to so impact Dolly in the worst way, Amber says both Naomi and the creator are thinking a second season will happen. It's just that the ratings compared to other shows like Glow are much lower. Yeah, they definitely want a second season, but we just don't know if we're going to get that yet. Marissa says, and as a therapist, she should recognize these issues in herself and be seeking help and not be going to such extremes. But I don't know if she just doesn't recognize it or what. But I mean, she lies to like her coworkers. There's not a single person she doesn't lie to, and it's just really sad. Vanessa says you're surprised that Michael didn't find the journal that she wrote the list for Diane. I mean, he puts up with so much, guys. I mean, like, early on in the series, he knew something was up. She was always having patient emergencies. Sometimes she was doing stuff with patients she shouldn't be doing, but other times she was just hooking up with Sydney or whatever, and he knew stuff was going down, and he just didn't really. Some people would have flipped and freaked out and yelled and been like, who are you, having an affair with, and blah, blah, blah. Like, she wouldn't give him the passcode for her phone, so he knows this stuff's going on. He's been pretty level-headed, but enough is enough, right? Marissa says it's weird to think she's a good mom when she denies even having a child. Why not say it's her daughter and make the lie that she doesn't have full custody? I kind of wondered that too. That's why it's hard for me to say she's a good mom. I mean, I think she has good mom moments, but I don't think we can call her a good mom. And I think Sydney knows, like, that's probably her daughter, don't you think? I think she knew that before showing up for that speech. Because, like, she saw her daughter, she thinks they look just alike. Her daughter's picture was in the apartment. Why not say she has a kid? And that would also help her with her excuses, like, I got to pick my kid up from school, or I don't have a sitter, or all these different things, where she could really just need to be with her husband and tell Sydney it was just blame it on the daughter. I mean, I'm not condoning that, but that would have actually helped her, right? But I think probably if she told her she had a daughter, like, Sydney would want to meet her, and then when she came over to the apartment, she could say she was with a babysitter. But I think that Sydney would always ask, like, I would love to meet your daughter. Why won't you let me meet your daughter, Jay found it interesting that Michael said that Jean needed him to act a certain way for him, like uptight and firm, when you think they both just need to be honest with their needs. I mean, I feel like they love each other, and I feel like they could make it work, but I'm sorry, I give her 100% of the blame. She can't be doing this crap. He really wanted to make it work. He avoided having an affair. He doesn't want to be a bad husband. He doesn't want to split them up. He said a lot of times, like, I like us. I don't want to be like my friends going through divorce and all of that. Vanessa says Jean, I don't think she does have a sister, right? That's totally made up, right? Marissa says when she's present as a mom, she is good, but when she is gone, she detaches completely. Right, and something terrible could happen, and she wouldn't know because she's off doing terrible things. Okay, Amber, thank you so much. Thanks for always coming to the chats, and I hope you check out the show because it's very good. Firkin says you think since she's a therapist, she thinks what she has done is the right thing, but she doesn't consider herself sick. Yeah, I do think she has convinced herself that she should be going the extra mile and doing all of these things with the patients. Like, what she did with Rebecca, I thought was just so wrong, and I feel so bad for Rebecca's mom. That's just a terrible situation. But sometimes she realizes, like, oh, I think I went too far or something, but then she doesn't know what to do. She can't fix it at this point, or at that point. Jay says Diane and Sydney both relish in the mystery and allure of each other and the lies. Definitely. I think that Sydney's very attracted to the crazy life and that someone's kind of playing games with her, but at the same time, I think that frustrates her. But I just feel like her husband's sick of it. I think Sam is not going to be cool. I don't think Sam's going to be cool with any of it. I think that's going to completely push him over the edge. But love this show so much, and I'm just really hoping we can have a second season because I would just be all about that in every single way. And thank you guys so much for recommending it. Marissa says, do you feel like this started as her really feeling like she was trying to help her patients, or did she do it because she thinks everyone is a liar like she is? And I don't know. And I hope we would find more out about her, her background, her life as a kid in season 2 that might help us understand why she's doing this, or she might just have a mental illness and there's really no like concrete explanation for it. I don't know. Vanessa says the moms on this show reminded you of the moms in Big Little Lies. Absolutely. That's why this show kind of reminded me in a weird way of Big Little Lies. Firkin says if we get a season 2, it won't come back until 2018. Sure, for sure, because I don't think they're filming it or anything yet because they don't know. So that's okay. It's worth waiting for. I think it's okay. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I just appreciate you guys being here so much. And if you just come across this, hopefully you weren't spoiled. But I just really recommend this show. Thank you guys so much for telling me to watch. I'm going to try to watch The Mist next, since a lot of you, including Firkin, has asked me to watch it. And if I do get into that, I can do that weekly because it's not on Netflix. I hate that I don't do this. I know Julie's able to do this and other people do it weekly, but I've just been spoiled so much, and I would have been very upset if someone in any way spoiled this for me. And to me, it's not worth it. But for you guys, I would love to talk about it every week. It makes me sad that I can't, but I don't want to be spoiled because it just destroys everything and it destroys the show. Yeah, I will definitely give it a rating on Netflix. Whatever we can do. And I think the writer of the show said she really felt good when people talked about it on Twitter. And she was like thinking, oh my gosh, nobody likes it. But then she saw people talking about it on Twitter and it made her feel like, okay, some people do. So, if you guys are active on Twitter, just spreading the word, doing what you did for me, telling me to watch, and me doing a video like this. If you guys do videos, do a video about it and let people know, because people just don't know about it maybe, So thank you guys so much for being here. Hope you're having a great weekend. And thanks for always giving me great recommendations. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.